Miss Carmen nips at her in Spanish again. "Damn it, Mary," Miss Stein flusters. "You can't walk around with holy underwear. Now don't you feel stupid?" "Not really. It only bothers me a little when Ted sees them." "Make sure she buys underwear next week," Miss Carmen says. "If someone sees these, they'll say we're mistreating her or something." They leave the room, complaining about how stupid I am. As soon as they're out the door, Marisol shoves me away from her bed. "Disgusting puta. You smell like pussy through your holy panties." I straighten my side, then put my money, cell phone, and pocket knife back in their hiding spot. There is a lot that goes into reforming a teen felon. I'm reminded of this every morning when I look at my weekly schedule. As part of our parole program, we have fitness on Mondays and Wednesdays and group therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Fridays, we're given our weekly allowance of $30, which goes toward any personal items like tampons, underwear, Metro cards, and lunch during the week whenever we're not at the home. Sundays are for educational field trips that we never go on and visitations. Our only day of freedom is Saturdays, after we finish our chores, but we still need approval to leave before checkout. I also have to prepare for the GED, pick a trade, and go to vocational school. It's Ms. Carmen's job to advise me on my options. I think she is my 8th social worker, but I'm not sure. I've lost count. The other social workers I've had stopped by baby jail once a month, if they could remember, dropping off animal coloring books, reading and math worksheets, and crossword puzzles. I'd eat through them like air. They'd also leave board games and cards, but for what? There was no one else like me. There was no one for me to play with. Baby jail was what they called my cell block, but I was the only baby there. "So, Mary," Miss Carmen asked in a dead voice during my first week at the group home, fiddling with her rosary like a candy necklace, "what do you want to be when you grow up?" At first, this gave me hope. No one had asked me what I really wanted to do in years, but I knew the answer. I wanted to be a teacher. When I was little, I used to line my toys up in front of an imaginary chalkboard and give reading lessons. I'd even sit Alyssa on my lap and teach her the ABCs. Momma would say, "She's too little, baby. She can't even talk yet." But I didn't care. Alyssa was going to be smart. I was going to see to that. When I wrote teacher on a piece of paper and showed it to Miss Carmen, she chuckled, but wasn't actually amused. "Well, I don't think that's a good idea." Miss Carmen is one of the names on a long list of people who don't really like me, which seems ass backward, since she's responsible for my well-being. I think it's because she is super Catholic and I killed a baby or something. Allegedly. She made it very clear I would never work with children, that no baby killer would ever be able to work with children, ever. I'd scratched out teacher, then wrote nurse. Oh, right. The pills. Can't touch those either. After an hour of discussing what is left to do with my life at the ripe old age of 15, it was then determined that the safest career path for a psychopathic baby killer is cosmetology. That is what she chose for me. Another brilliant decision made by a government official. So I sit in GED class for 2 hours, pretending to know nothing, then learn about perms and curling irons for another 4 hours. Checkout is a pain in the ass. Ms. Reba has to write down the date and time we leave, where we're going, and a description of the clothes we're wearing. But she writes slow as shit and can't spell worth a damn. Gray sweatshirt, blue jeans, gray sneakers, pink smock.